Namaste yogis, welcome to Body Mind Alliance. I am Neeraj Deshwal and I have been teaching yoga for over a decade, helping my students in addressing their physical and mental challenges and aiding them in their healing journey. In this video, you're going to learn a yoga sequence for arthritis in the knee joint. Now let me remind you, this is not a theoretical lesson, but rather a case study of one of my students. So we are going to discuss the practical solution which I have implemented successfully. So now we will head to the asana lab and learn how I help my student with arthritis in the knee joint. So it's time to go to the asana lab. Welcome yoga aspirants to the asana lab. I'm here with Shikha and she's going to help us by acting as my student who is diagnosed with early stage arthritis. So for now, let us just assume that she is 60 years old and she has arthritis in her knee joint. So after doing the analysis, we learned that because of her weak VMO muscles, she is having an extension lag in the knee joint. So before we understand what is extension lag, let's first figure out where are your VMO muscles. VMO, which may sound like a cool acronym from the Gen Z, is located on the anterior-medial part of your thighs. If you don't understand this term, we extensively cover this in anatomicals lesson. So, as of now, to make it simple, VMO muscles are located on your inner thighs. So, Shikha, please point them out. So, these are your VMO muscles. Because of this weakness, extension lag is happening. Now, what is extension lag? Extension lag is knee's inability to straighten itself. Now, it causes difficulty in your regular activities like walking, taking stairs and standing for long hours. So let's see how extension lag creates problem. First, let's begin with the posture. So you will turn to the right side. So your posture would look like this, somewhat look like this. So as the name suggests, extension lag, the knees are not able to extend itself. There's some degree of flexion or bending. Let's see how it creates problem in walking. So go back. Now you will take few steps. Okay, take the first step. Now let's see when we take the next step and slow it down. Okay, slow it down. Now when you take the second step, your knee will bend, and when you keep it on the front here, the knee has to go in extension, and when you have extension lag, this doesn't happen. So you will experience this again, some degree of bending, some degree of flexion in the knee joint, and this is something we don't want. This will also happen when you take stairs. So when you take stairs, what happens? This again. Now when you stand for long hours, again the problem will happen. So what is the problem that happens with extension lag? Now, it causes the wear and tear of your knee joint because your thigh bone and your shin bone are coming closer. And since in this case, it's because of the weakness of the inner thighs muscle, the thigh bone and the shin bone are coming closer from the inner side, from the medial side. And this results in wear and tear and hence causes a lot of pain. Now, what is the solution for this? Now, I'm going to teach you a sequence that I have taught my student. So, what you need to do is follow the entire sequence and I'll tell you how I help my student. So, I'll begin with Tadasana, assuming that she has done her warm-up sequence, she's all warmed up. So, the first asana that we are going to do is Tadasana, with some variation with the help of a chair and 2 blocks. So Shikha, please. So we are going to keep the blocks like this, the long side of the block on the mat, and bring a chair. The chair is to support yourself. Now you will keep your toes on the blocks and heels on the floor. So this is some kind of a variation of Tadasana. Here you will focus on opening the back of the knee and keep the kneecap pulled up. Now we are done with this posture. We'll move on to the another posture. So the next posture is Supta Padangusthasana. Again, for that we will use a belt. So it's not necessary that you require a belt. You can use any cloth in your house to do this. So lie down on your back. Now give me the belt. Now you will make a loop out of this belt. So again, we cover this in the asana class, how to make the loops. So you can learn from there. Now you will raise any leg. So we'll begin with the right leg. Put the loop there and hold the loop on the other end with your right hand. So here again focus on opening the back of the knee and pressing the other leg firmly on the floor. Now again, you can hold this posture for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. If you are a beginner, hold it for 20 to 30 seconds and then move on to the next leg. So do it on the left side. So if you are a beginner, you may need a bigger loop than this. So you can do that accordingly. If you have a cloth, then you can make a loop with that cloth and then do this posture. So 20 to 30 seconds from each side. Since I was teaching a 60 years old, I started with 20-second hold. Now come back. Now next we are going to do Janu Sirsasana, again with the help of belt and this rolled cloth. So this is the towel, I rolled it, and we are going to do Janu Sirsasana with this help. So we are focusing on the back of the knee and we'll focus on opening it. So do it. So place this just underneath your knee joint on the back of the knee. Okay, and you may require belt with this. Shikha may not need it, but the beginners will require it. So what you need to do is press the back of the knee firmly on the cloth. The rest of the leg will lift up, toes will come towards you and heel will move away from you. Now this is comparatively easier posture. So you can hold it for 30 seconds or 40 seconds, or maybe you can take your practice to 60 seconds. Now you will change to the other side. This can be easily done while you are sitting on a bed. Make sure the bed is not too soft for people who are not able to sit on the floor. So that's one important tip. If you are already a yoga teacher, you can teach your students. Now open the back of the knee, toes towards you, heel moving away from you. Make sure your spine is straight, you're not arching your spine in the front. Now release. That's second posture is Janu Sirsasana. Then we will move on to the next posture, which is Prasarita Paddotanasana. For that, we will use a wall and a chair. Now first keep your hands on the chair and take your legs back and separate them. Make sure your back of the thigh and even back of your knees are touching the wall. And you're taking the support of the chair. So please remember, do not take your legs first and then keep your hand, because you will be disbalanced. Now press the front of the thigh towards the back of the thigh and make sure your thighs are touching the wall. Okay. Now again hold it for 30 seconds to 60 seconds depending on your practice. Now release. Now we move on to the next posture, which is Uttanasana. For that you would need a block, a chair and also the wall. Now you will keep the block between your thighs like this. So you can turn and show them. So slightly upwards. Okay, this is how you will place the block between your legs. Now turn. keep your buttock on the wall and make sure your foot are slightly away from the wall. So this is the position that you need to take. Now, you will keep your hand here, okay, and press the block as much as you can. So we are targeting the VMO muscles here right now. So by pressing the block, we are strengthening the VMO muscles and also opening the back of the knee. Now, if your body allows, you can also hold the ankle. So this is how it will happen. But if you are a beginner, use the chair. So keep your hand on the chair, back on the chair. So this is how you will do it. So since I was working with the 60-year-old student, I preferred chair and then we moved on to the ankle. So you can now release. Now, the next posture is Parsvottanasana. For that, we require 2 blocks and again a chair. So let's see how the blocks are placed. Keep the long side of the block here and keep the another block slanted like this. Okay? Now, come. Keep your right foot on the block. Take the leg back like this. Make sure both the buttocks are in one line and both the legs are straight. Your knee should not bend, and pull the kneecap up and quadricep up, the front of the thighs on the both sides. Again, hold it for few seconds, 20 to 30 seconds. Make sure both the foot are not exactly in one line. You can take the back foot slightly out. Now change, do it on the other side. So again, you can do it for 20 to 30 seconds. If someone feels that there's some pain on the back of the knee, you can stop. But otherwise, it's a very safe asana to do. Now release. Now the next posture that we are going to do is Adhomukhshvanasana or downward facing dog. You can remove the blocks. Now, this is the posture you may have seen a lot of time when you see the dogs in the morning, they do this stretch. So hold the chair from the sides, take your legs back and slightly separate it. Now move your pelvis away from the chair, pull the kneecap up and quads up. Stretch your upper arm, forearm and side trunk. So this is your Adhomukhshvanasana. So since I was working with a 60-year-old woman, I prefer to use the chair. So this is called the regressed version of Adhomukhshvanasana. So this gives good stretch to the back of the knee to the thighs. Now I'm giving you a very good tip here. You can use it and improve this posture for you. So what you can do here is lift from your inner ankle towards your inner knee, from your inner knee towards your inner groin. And this will improve your asana immediately. So if you practice, then you can try this. Again, this is a little difficult posture for the beginner. So 20 to 30 seconds is good enough. Now release. Take few breaths and then we move on to the next posture. So the next posture that we are going to do is Upavishtakonasana. So for that, we'll sit on the mat and use the belt because we are going to do a variation of it first. Okay? So first sit in Dandasana. I'll give you the belt. Now separate your feet. Now, since my student had very tight hips, she wasn't able to separate the feet too much. So if you are able to separate this much, that's okay. From a beginner's point of view, that's completely okay. Okay? Now, separate your feet a little bit more. Again, make a loop, keep it on the right foot and hold it from the left side and do the twist first. Now, when you are doing Upavishtakonasana, make sure you're pressing the sitting bone firmly on the ground, thighs, knees, calves firmly on the ground, and then twist to the other side. Now, you can also use a block to keep your hand here. Okay? Now, this is your sitting bone, the two pointy bones on your buttock. Press them firmly on the ground. This will give you a good grounding feeling when you are doing this posture. Now you will repeat on the other side. Yes. Keep your hand on the block, turn your head and look at your left shoulder. Press your thighs, knees, calves firmly on the ground. You can hold it for 30 seconds each side and then release. Now, we are going for Upavishtakonasana. Now raise your arms up, bend forward and hold your big toe with your index, middle finger and thumb. And press your thighs and calves on the ground. So don't try to bend too much, okay? So there's a tendency among the students to go like, bend like this. Don't do this. Keep your spine straight and keep your head up. Now release. The next posture that we are going to do is Setubandhasana. So lie down on your back. Now here, we are going to use one block. So you will bend your knees, bring towards your buttocks. Now, I'll keep the block between the thighs as we did in Uttanasana. Again, we are targeting VMO muscles here. Okay? Now, keep your palm on the floor. Take the tip of the shoulders back, lift your buttocks up. And keep pressing the block. Keep pressing the block. Now, if you can hold, start with holding for 20 seconds. Then take your practice of 30 seconds and subsequently do 60 seconds and more. Okay? Now release. Now, when you have weak VMO muscles, your physiotherapist can suggest you to keep a ball between your inner thighs. So bend your knees. So you can do that as well. So keep the soft ball between your thighs and press it. So this will also target your VMO muscle. It will strengthen it. So that can also be done. So after this posture, we'll do Savasana, which is everyone's favorite posture. So keep your legs straight, palm facing the ceiling. So that's Savasana for you. Okay. Then we are done with the sequence. So that was one of the sequence that I taught my student. So Shika, come back. You'll sit in Sukhasana. So that was one of the sequence that I have taught to my student with early stage arthritis. I hope you have learned something from it. If you like the video, then subscribe to our channel and you can let me know your opinion in the comment box. So that's all from this lesson. I'll see you in the next one.